see where, some of the kids were at.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to the PA Power Hour. I am Jeff Upson, and we have a special guest tonight. We got Bill Bassett coming from, you've been all over the country, it seems like, recently. Bill, tell us a little bit about where you're at and what you're up to.
Well, so right now I'm in St. Paris, Graham, Ohio. I have a bunch of Young Guns Ranger Pride guys out here training. We flew in last night. We were in Tulsa, Oklahoma. They had the Reno National, or the Reno Worlds. And then Coach Guerrero ran a camp. It was the Flow Prospect Camp. So we were out there. I had a lot of the boys out there. And so, yeah, we just did, once everything opened up a little bit, we took advantage of what we can. So.
And tell us a little bit about that, experience of you going out to the, it was funny. We talked a little bit off air about the Reno Worlds not being in Reno. It's, in Tulsa. So what was that like? What was the experience like flying out there and competing out there?
Well, it was neat because usually, all the boys talk about it. They want to try the Tulsas and the Renos of the world. I mean, it's definitely a different mix of kids. And so we had the opportunity because it was held up, and usually it's in April, and that's right after this the state tournament and things like that. So they were able to take advantage of it, and it was definitely good because they got to wrestle, again, different kids, a lot of the California, out those guys, out that way. So it was good. It was neat because Reno is the third of the 3 events, and if you win all 3, you get the Trinity. So a couple of them, they wanted to try to block some of those guys, and that's where you're going to get the absolute best kids going in there to try to win that award. So it was definitely neat.
Pretty good outing for your guys there. 3 champions from RPW. Your son Bo was the outstanding wrestler in the 15 and under category. What did you see out of him this past weekend?
He's been working really hard. They all been working extremely hard. I mean, we were very fortunate, even with the Corona shutdown. I mean, we were still able to get, some small group stuff in and things like that. And they worked really hard. It was almost like, they were itching to get some competition. He wrestled extremely well, and he just got after it. And, he definitely put a good effort in.
And then Mason Gibson, the #1 freshman in the country, really got pushed a couple of times there, though. Is that good for him at this point to get some tough competition there?
It was great. I mean, he wrestled up an entire age group. He's 15, and he could have wrestled in a 15U. And I think after Super 32 last year, I mean, it didn't make sense for him to wrestle down. So we actually had to call the tournament director, and they don't usually do that. Usually you have to wrestle one bracket, and you have to wrestle your age. And they made an exception for Mason, and he definitely got pushed. He didn't have one easy match. Right out of the gate, he come out, I think it was around a 32, and he was down 4-0, and he battled back, and he definitely had to overcome a lot of adversity to pull it off. I mean, there wasn't one easy match, and I mean that's what we went out there for.
And then Ryan Wyatt, your other champion, some of the people, he's not quite the household name that Bo and Mason are, but Ryan is a guy that really came on last year, placed at the PIAA tournament, and this showing has got to be a big confidence booster for him as well, I would think, to go out there and win a Reno title. Yeah,
Ryan's a special, I don't even know how to put this. Ryan's a different skill set that very few people can even fathom. Like, he was at the Flow Prospect Camp as well, and And there was a few colleges out there, and they were, asking about certain kids, and, and I was telling them about Ryan. Ryan is a unique style, but Ryan is so dangerous from all positions, which makes him, it's fun to watch. It's really hard to coach at times. I can't imagine if I was his mom or dad, because, that would just be a nightmare. You never know what he's going to do, but he's very dangerous. And what he was able to do is, he was able to just get all of his guys so tired, and he eventually pinned 3 of the 4. He was beating Iowa, state runner-ups and California place winners. And so he had an amazing run. And I think up to date, this was probably his biggest wrestling accomplishment. And he worked really hard. And I'm glad he was able to, do what he did this weekend.
Yeah, Ryan's the type of guy that he's not afraid to give up 2 points to get 3 or 5 or a fall. He'll take risks, and sometimes you look at it and you say, man, what's he doing? But somehow he ends up with the other guy on his back and looking for a fall.
He was actually losing in every one of his matches, but he's so poised, and he's just he's very confident. I can tell you that. He's definitely that's another attribute that makes him really good, is he's very confident, and he should be.
And Bill, just talk about how good it felt to get back onto the mat and competing and being in the corner coaching, because it's been a little bit for you guys, and just talk about that whole atmosphere and how it felt to really get back into it.
It was nice. It was nice to see just how excited the boys were, and then once we kind of put this on the schedule, they were training hard, but again, like, there's that unknown. They didn't really know what they were training for, when's it going to come, and then whenever this got kind of put on the schedule, you could just see them ramp everything up just a little bit, so to get them guys. And then some of them flew for the first time, so wrestling has definitely created a lot of different opportunities for some of these guys. So it was cool to take them out and fly them out there and just help them. Just be in their corner. But it was definitely great to see them guys compete and just see the smiles on their faces when they were getting ready to go. So it was great.
And what was the prospect camp like? What did your guys pick up out of that?
So Coach Guerrero from Oklahoma, I think he runs the Oklahoma Training Center. He reached out to us about bringing out as many good guys as we could from Young Guns and Ranger Pride. And so there was quite a few that went out, and it was basically his goal was to get the top 40 freshmen, the top 40 sophomores, juniors, and seniors, and kind of and then he was bringing in the best middle school guys he could bring in as well, just to kind of get them accustomed to just being out there with all the best guys. And they ran cameras, Flo ran cameras, and they had just they were trying to pair guys up, different guys they would like to see matched up. And it was great. All the boys got some really good matchups. There wasn't as many middle schoolers, so Bo did have the opportunity. He trained with Sasso a good bit. He wrestled with him for over an hour yesterday. So that was, that was worth it just to go out there for Bo to have that opportunity. Eric Gibson was with Jagger Condominium a good bit. So they were training and working hard and making, helping each other. And then Mason was with Jordan Williams a good portion of yesterday. So, again, you can't ask for better partners, on that end.
Yeah, and I saw Sasso posted a photo of him and Bo, and it's like, and you said they were going live together. They looked significant. Sasso looked significantly bigger. I'd like to see how Bo was able to hang with Sammy.
Yeah, I don't know about live, but yeah, Sammy definitely taught him a few lessons, But the cool part about it was, sometimes guys just get in there and they play wrestle, but Sasso was stopping and he was breaking things down and showing him exactly what he needs to work, and it was great. It was definitely something that Bo will never forget.
And that's nice to see another PA guy giving back, whoever it was, it would have been great for Bo, obviously, of a wrestler of that caliber. But for us specifically to see that, PA guys kind of sticking together and helping each other out is kind of a neat thing to see.
It was great because, Sasso, I seen him working with Vinny Kilcurry, and he was working with Mac Church a little bit, and Devin Magro, so he was definitely, I don't want to say he was biased towards PA, but he was definitely making sure, he got it, he got to help the PA guys out a lot, which was great.
Well, Bill, what's next for you guys? I know you probably have some more camps coming up, and you got some things, on the schedule. But what's next for Bo especially?
Well, so right now, this Friday and Saturday we have a bunch of kids coming in to Johnstown, Pennsylvania, to the compound to do. We're going to do like a middle school kind of, not a showcase, but more so of just getting all them together, and we're going to do more live goes. And hold on, guys, I'm sorry. We're going to get more. There's trucks going on. All right, we're good. So yeah, we're basically going to get everyone together, and there's kids coming in from California, Illinois, Florida, Texas. They're from all over, Missouri. So we're going to do that and just kind of, as coaches, pick each other's brains and things like that, and then get the boys together training. And then I think the next big one that we're kind of gearing up for is Super 32. So that's the next one. Everyone's hoping that that's going to be open and it's still going to be rolling. But right now that's the one that's kind of circled on a calendar.
What's the mood like in you talking with people from all over the country? Are they optimistic that we're going to be able to have Super 32 and some of these larger events?
See, I think it's just like anything in life. You got your optimistic people that are like, man, it's going to happen. I can't wait. We're training. And then you got your pessimists that, they're just kind of, well, there's no way. I don't even know why we're, nothing's going to ever be the same. So, I'm very optimistic in life, and we're going to train like it's going to happen. And if it doesn't happen, the worst case is they got better. They put some work in, and, and they learned it, and they got some of the process, so.
And talk about just Mason Gibson. You had talked about how he got pushed a little bit. Last year was such a big year for him, obviously winning Super 32 as an 8th grader. He gets so much press. How do you keep him kind of honed in and motivated and also hungry? Because it's an odd time to try to, like you said, prepare for something that you're not sure if it's going to be there or not. But he's got such a cool attitude, it seems like. So how do you kind of keep him, going, I guess?
Well, he definitely, for being a young kid, he's definitely, pretty accomplished as far as, he's already showed that he can wrestle at the high school level. So, with that, we're just always trying to bring in the best partners we can get for him. We have Eric in the room, so it's not like don't have to look too far to have a really good partner. But, that's the thing. We're constantly trying to just throw different people at him and get him around the best people we can get him around. And, like I said, like for Tulsa, for Reno, we jumped him up in age group, so he was definitely pushed. Not that he wouldn't have been pushed 15. There was some unbelievable talent right around his weight, but it's just something like, hey, win, lose, or draw, he's going to get better. And definitely, what Jody and John and even myself, what we taught the kids is, you can't be scared to put it on the line. If you lose, you lose. You got to come back hard, and that's one thing with those guys. They're always looking to challenge themselves,
Bill, you mentioned Mason's attitude. I think it's kind of funny. He and Eric are brothers, but they're completely different personalities, aren't they?
Completely different. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Eric's one of those guys where you can trust him. I could trust him. He could watch my kids for a week, and I would feel comfortable. And Mason, on the other hand, he's one of those guys that he has unlimited amount of energy, and he he likes to have a lot of fun. So he's going to be, I just hope he can reel it in. But he's such a great. They're both great kids in such different ways.
I like how you kind of gently put that. It's like, well, he's a little bit. He's got a lot of energy. I can remember him at the Surge last year, running around with his singlet around his neck like a cape, just running around, and parents yelling, "Hey, come on, take that off, take that off." No, I'm good. I'm just gonna run around, and he just seems like a fun guy. I'm sure he boosts the morale of guys that he's with.
I can honestly say this, and I say this all the time. He comes into practice every single day with the biggest smile on his face. People say, why is Mason so good? Why are some of your guys so good? And it's there's no secret. They love it. They love the sport. Mason loves the sport. And we were just joking. We just had our banquet last month, and we talked a little bit about Mason and Mason's Super 32 run. And at first, I don't think anyone believed in Mason, maybe other than, Mason, myself, and his dad. But then as each match went on, his head got a little bit bigger. And I said, by the finals, we had to find a special door to get him in there. I said, because like he fueled him, and he was so confident. And he realized, holy heck, I can do this. And, he went on to do, to accomplish it. So it was very cool.
Well, Bill, we know you're busy on the road, so we won't keep you, but we appreciate you stopping by on your travels and talking a little bit about the Reno Worlds and the prospect camp, and kind of giving us an update on those Ranger Pride guys. And we're happy to see that the success is still going despite all the challenges that wrestlers are facing. So it seems like you guys are getting after it and having fun in the process too.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you guys very much, and yeah. we're definitely gonna keep working hard. That's for sure.
Thanks, Bill. We appreciate it. Okay.
Thank you, guys. Hey, see ya.
So, Eric, let's talk a little bit about the Reno Worlds that just happened, but it wasn't in Reno, right? We talked about how I was writing that we're going to recap it, and I'm like, this is weird. I'm writing Reno, but it happened in Tulsa because obviously with COVID. Pennsylvania had 9 champions, including Bo Bassett. We talked about Mason Gibson and Ryan Wyatt, all from Ranger Pride, but we had a bunch of other kids do pretty well. One thing I wanted to touch on was what Bill said, and that was that Mason did get pushed. In his first match, he was down 4-0, got taken down and turned, and then came back, was able to win the match. But he finished ahead of Dom Chavez from Texas, who was actually a Powerade runner-up. We got to see him last year at Powerade. So that's a known guy that we've seen before, especially on the national stage. And he ended up taking third, and Mason was a champion. So I agree with Bill. I think this is great that he gets pushed by some of these older guys.
Well, and I mean, I think that's good at any level. Obviously you want to go out and score points and dominate people, but at the same time, getting pushed and going that 3 periods and getting pushed the whole time, I think is really good for developmental reasons and just mentally. We've seen guys that have dominated people through their age levels, and then they get in a tight match and they're really not quite sure how to react. So, it's important for these guys, even if you are at that really high upper echelon, to have that in your back pocket that know, hey, I've been here before. I've been in a tight match in the 3rd period, and I know how to win it.
And you also look at what Ryan Wyatt was able to do. As you mentioned him, he's, definitely not the Mason, he's not a Mason Gibson or Bo Bassett, right? Those are 2 guys that are topped in the nation. But Ryan Wyatt was able to battle, and he's such a sleeper, right? I mean, last year at States, he didn't even make it to regionals as a sophomore, right? He was
right.
He was district 7th.
He had the great King of the Mountain tournament as a sophomore,
right?
And then kind of petered out almost as the season went on. I thought people kind of got used to his style a little bit, and he struggled a little bit more. Didn't make it out of District 6, but then last year, really turned it on. And as you said, went from not even getting out of the District 6 tournament to being a state medalist. So really, Ryan has really come has been more consistent, I think, is the big thing, is that he's able to, even though he is giving up points and not afraid to do that he's still able to overcome that and do what he needs to do to get the W.
I like what Bill said. What did he say? He's tough to coach. He's sometimes he doesn't do all the necessarily the things you want him to do, but good for him for competing and going out there and scrapping. And I think he's kind of a low key steal for any college that's looking for somebody who's going to continue to develop and who's going to work hard and potentially turn into a very technical and a very unique wrestler, in my opinion. Just based on watching him develop. I can remember seeing him at the Surge maybe when he was a freshman or sophomore and thinking, okay, he's got some raw talent there. And then, last year at States, I was really impressed with the way he was able to compete. So happy to see him out in Tulsa winning Reno. Right, Eric?
Exactly. The Reno Worlds at Tulsa.
So, and Bo Bassett. So Bo Bassett competed and just absolutely dominated everybody in his bracket. He competed at 98 pounds 95 pounds in the 15 and under division, and in the finals he pinned in 58 seconds. So, there's that. You kind of expected, Bo to go out there and dominate, and I think they were expecting some other guys to be there, but hey, he went out and competed and kicked butt.
Yeah, he dominated everybody that he wrestled. So you can't take anything away from him for that. Yeah, it would have been fun to see that match up with Valencia, but it didn't happen. So Bo is one that I don't get to see too much, obviously at the youth levels, but I've been hearing the name for years and can't wait to to get to see him on a regular basis more often, as opposed to just seeing him at all the top clinics and camps in the area that I cover. So he's a guy that I'm really excited to see. He's still got another year, only in 8th grade coming up, but he's one that we've certainly known the name for years and the accomplishments. Was a finalist for Sports Illustrated Kids Athlete of the Year last year. I think a 6-time PJW champion. Just phenomenal accolades for what Bo's been able to do, and we just expect him to keep building on that as he grows up.
Yeah, and I think what he had mentioned about training with like Sasso and getting your hands on him is such a lucky thing for him to be a part of, right? And to go out there and actually grind with some of these bigger guys and more, these older guys, and that's only going to pay dividends for him down the road. So I can't see it any slowing down for him at all. Like you said, you kind of see people maybe peter out a little bit once they hit their older competition, but I can't see that happening with him or Mason, to be honest. So I'm excited for the future for what it has in store for that that clique of wrestlers.
Yeah, it's an amazing group that with me, they're right in my backyard. So I've been, as I said, been writing and hearing about these guys for it seems like it's almost a decade now. I mean, they're only in 8th grade, Bo is, but he's been around since he was real little, and been winning titles and piling up accomplishments. So it's finally getting to that point where we're ready to see him almost at the varsity level. Still got to wait another year yet, but we will have Mason at the varsity level this year, and see how things go there. So a lot of fun things to be seeing there out of those guys.
Well, not according to you, Eric, because we're not going to have a season. Remember, you Debbie Downer, half empty glass for you.
I was waiting for you to say something whenever Bill said about a pessimist. I thought you were going to jump all over me, and the fact is, I'm not normally a pessimist.
I was trying to be respectful of Bill. I mean, he's sitting on a rocking chair outside of a
big trucks
Cracker Barrel. We were going to have him sit on a tractor. And that would be pretty cool.
Hey,
but
we do have to throw a shout out to Sam Herring, the Home Mat Advantage host who helped us out by hooking Bill up there with his cell phone to do the Skype to get him on. So thanks, Sam. I appreciate the little help out there to make sure we can get Bill on the show.
I feel like Sam's always saving the day. We should get a cape, and instead of S for Superman, it's gonna be S for Sam. Jude's so lucky. Jude's so lucky to have Sam in his corner because.
Wow, are you saying that Sam's carrying Jude? Is that what you're saying?
I didn't say that. You're interpreting that for me. 9 champions at the Reno Worlds for Pennsylvania, and it's crazy because don't get me wrong, I don't want to get into a debate here, but there was kids that are wrestling at 6 and under from Pennsylvania, 6 and under. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. 6 and under.
Yeah, going to Tulsa.
Going to Tulsa.
A 6-year-old.
Yeah. But hey, good for you, man.
If I went to the next county over, I was like, wow, we're going on a big road trip,
Right. Crossing the river, crossing the Susquehanna River, go to the West Shore to compete. You're like, all right, we're going to be strapped in for this one here. But hey, Tulsa at 6 and under, more power to you. I don't know necessarily how that, if that's going to build upon for when you're 16, but hey, a lot of guys competed there. 6 and under, 49 pounds, Liam Rivas from Nazareth, Steel Valley Renegades. He won the championship at 49 pounds with a 5-0 decision over Garrett Smith from Illinois. At 70 pounds, also in the 6 and under division, Zane Jones from Westchester competing for Turk's Head. He won 5th place. And then you have 8 and under, Casson Dietz from Plains, PA, Mad Assassins, took 4th at 46 pounds. Eric, can you remember when you weighed 46 pounds?
I know that I was wrestling 65 when I was 12.
65? Yeah, I was 75 pounds in 8th grade, so yeah, I can relate to that, but that 40 some pounds.
46 is going back a ways.
Yeah, I can imagine. I saw an older picture of you, and I was like, man, Eric had hair. I was
skinny.
Man, what happened? I want that Eric back.
I'm old, man. That happens.
52 pounds, Nelson Villafan the third from Taylor, PA, Mad Assassins. Also in the 8 and under division, he won the championship over Amar Newman Winfrey of Iowa. 58 pounds, Jack Stonebreaker from Clinton, PA, Gladiators. In fact, I just retweeted something from the Gladiators, putting that out. Jack Stonebreaker, that's a name I've definitely heard, and I know Stonebreaker's a name that is well known out that way. He got a 1-0 decision in the finals against Logan Tuck from New Jersey. So a New Jersey PA battle in the finals at 58 pounds in the 8 and under division. Cale Smith from Center Hall, PA, from M2. In fact, I saw David Taylor retweet this about Cale Smith from M2 taking third at 85 pounds, all in the 8 and under division. If you go up to the 10 and under division, 58 pounds, Dominic Schumann from Honesdale, Mad Assassins, took third. Our second champion was at 64 pounds was Max Dingus from Coburn, also M2. That was 64 pounds. Also at 64 pounds, Nathan Schumann from Honesdale took fourth place. So you had Dominic Schumann taking third and Nathan taking fourth. 67 pounds, Justin Farnsworth from Lafayette Hill Broad Axe Club. They had a couple guys at the Surge last year, and he won the championship at 67 pounds. So Justin Farnsworth was another Reno champion. Duke Martin from Honesdale, Mad Assassins. A lot of Mad Assassins here from Honesdale. That's good for them. 110 pounds, he took fifth place. 130 pounds, Sam Almedina from Dickinson City. Again, Mad Assassins, 130 pounds. He was your champion at 130 pounds, Eric.
Yeah, so good production there at the, the 10 and under division with a couple champions there in Dingus, Farnsworth, and Almedina. So pretty good showing, to have three guys from Pennsylvania winning titles out in Reno or in Tulsa. Sorry.
It was Reno, Eric. It was just the Tulsa. It was just the Tulsa, location. I liked how.
I mean, that's impressive. To have three guys even wrestling out there at that age to me is impressive with what's going on, and then to have three guys from Pennsylvania win titles is really impressive.
You go up to the 12 and under, and Matt Almedina from Dickinson City, Mad Assassins. I'm assuming that's brother. Took fifth at 100 pounds. A lot of guys from Mad Assassins. I like seeing that. I like seeing, groups of guys going out there and competing together. And of course, 15 and under, we talked about it, 95 pounds, Bo Bassett from Young Guns Ranger Pride. He won the championship with a fall in 58 seconds. 18 and under, and this is where Mason Gibson competed. Sean Logue from Father Judge, Philadelphia, PA, Rhino Wrestling Club. He took second, and they did true second for this at 113 pounds, and he took true second, winning 7-3 over Chad Bellis from Illinois. And then, of course, Mason Gibson at 120 pounds. He was your champion, 7-3 over Braden Abel from California, who I've heard the name from California. I don't know if I think he was a state medalist in California. But as I mentioned, Dom Chavez from Texas, we got to see him at Powerade last year. He was a runner-up to Kyle Hauserman from Council Rock North. He was in the finals. And, he was kind of an unknown. Not a lot of people knew about him. I remember we were doing our picks up on Media Row, and was like, I'll take the kid from Texas. He's probably pretty good. So your runner-up at Powerade, pretty decent. Mason Gibson didn't wrestle him because Abel beat him in the semifinals. But Gibson, you can see where he's at, right? You can see where he stacks up, especially against that high school competition. Super 32 as an 8th grader was not a fluke. Mason Gibson's the real deal.
Yeah, I was interested to see, he kind of, I think he even wrestled heavier than this a lot during the junior high season. He was a 6-pounder at Super 32. And then, with junior high with the competition level, he could pretty much wrestle wherever he wanted and get a W. So that wasn't as big a deal. I was kind of interested to see after the long layoff where he was going to be weight-wise. So 120 pounds gives us kind of an idea of where we'll see him if and when we get a high school season going.
I like Eric. The pessimistic Eric is going away.
I had to throw that in for you.
You're going away. You're like, you know what? Maybe Maybe we will have Super 32. Maybe we will have thousands of wrestlers in one location competing. Maybe. I like that, Eric. You're coming along to the.
I told you I would love for that to happen. I'm still not sure it will, but I hope that's what happens.
At 138 pounds, 7th place was Kevin Rainey from Folsom, PA, Turk's Head. He's wrestling out of Ridley, PA, or Ridley High School. He took 7th place at 138 pounds. 160 pounds, Ryan Wyatt from Forest Hills. He got a pin in the finals against Trent Hull from California. And I think he pinned in maybe 3 or 4 matches, Ryan did. Yeah, he's funky.
Yeah, I watched this one just to see what happened there in the finals. And it was one of those situations where he was on his back at one point, and then, that doesn't faze him. It's not like, some of these guys that are really, really good, you get them on their back and they're like, man, I don't know what to do. I've never been here before. Ryan Wyatt's like, okay, I'm on my back now. That's fine. I can find a way to get off it and put you on your back.
But as you mentioned, like I think you said King of the Mountain was that not last year, the year before, right? And, you kind of saw that where that was also Gibson's freshman year. And I remember, those guys wrestling kind of a more open style, kind of, not saying taking risk, but, I remember him wrestling Kenny Kaiser and Wyatt wrestling a couple guys where, it worked out in his favor. But it seems like now he's much more consistent and a little bit cleaner. But clearly he's still a pinner, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He's I don't think you want to get in a scramble with Ryan Wyatt.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to get in a scramble with him. He seems so long and lanky. Like he doesn't appear at first sight. You're like, oh, okay, maybe not a bad matchup. He's not, Gibson on the other hand, you're like, oh, that guy's a stud. Ryan, you're like, all right, maybe, and then he's like just comes at you like a spider monkey, and he just really controls you.
That's actually, I think his nickname is Spider.
Is it? Well, yeah, that's right.
I believe so.
I saw when Bill was tweeting stuff out, he said Spider, so that would make sense if he would be nicknamed Spider, because he kind of looks like, he has like
he can also rock a headband. Did you see the picture there with the headband on?
I did not. What kind of?
I think the one you put promoting the show today, I think he has the headband on there.
Okay.
Look, he's got kind of a 80s Karate Kid vibe going there.
80s Karate Kid. Good for him. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. I'm so pumped, Eric. I'm getting my hair cut tomorrow. It is so long. It's out of control. So I know you don't.
You rocking a ponytail in the back there?
Essentially, almost. I got like.
You got like the John. What's his name? John Clayton on ESPN. There was a long running myth about whether he had a ponytail in the back.
There's no ponytail in the back, Eric. Okay. There's no. Listen.
I'm going to start that rumor. Jeff Upson rocking the ponytail in the back.
Just like you people started the rumor that I was 40 last year, right?
That was a big birthday for you last year.
I'm not 40, Eric. Stop it. I'm not 40 and I don't have a ponytail, okay? I wanted to do the show.
Hey, that screams midlife crisis to me, Jeff.
Okay, just stop, Eric.
You getting a convertible too?
Yeah, I'm getting a convertible. I'm gonna get a convertible. I'm gonna start dyeing my hair. I wanted to do the show tomorrow because I was gonna have a new haircut, but we could get Bill today. I was like, you know what? Let's just do it. I'll suck it up. The fans are gonna have to look at a kind of ragged Jeff. Not that we say this every show, but it's not like they're coming here to look at us. That's for sure.
I certainly hope not.
Before we go on to talk about the Bison Legend Duels, let's go to a quick commercial break with the Tactical Mind and my good friend Nick Fuller. We'll be right back.
This is the Tactical Mind, and I work with athletes in the field of sports psychology as a cognitive performance coach. Within 5 minutes of talking to a parent, they make the connection right away that this would be great for my kid to have when they're in college, when they're just going through the ups and downs of high school. Who wouldn't benefit from having more self-awareness? Who wouldn't benefit from having the ability to self-regulate our emotions and our counterproductive thoughts? Who wouldn't benefit from having more optimism, not just on the field, but in life?
Eric, you hear that? Benefiting from cognitive, redirecting positive thoughts, things like that. I think we can work on with you.
I think I could use that training. Maybe get me believing that we're gonna have a high school wrestling season.
And I'll tell you what, Nick does a great job. I've known Nick for many years. He's trained with a lot of different. He's trained with the military. He's done a really good job with the Tactical Mind, and I think he's only going to do even more for wrestling. So definitely check out the Tactical Mind. Let's go on to the Bison Legend Duels. This was an interesting one because it was like up in the air whether it was going to happen or not. I kept on hearing kind of different things, where they were going to hold it at, because I think there was some obviously issues there with COVID about where they could host it. But you look at some of the names, Eric, that competed.
Yeah,
there were some studs that competed.
And there were some studs that lost here. I mean, like it must have been some really good competition.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the names, and there was obviously a lot of Pennsylvania guys there that competed. A couple guys that are actually already out of high school and going to college, Caden Cassidy being one of them. I was excited to see him back in action before he goes to George Mason. But a lot of good matches. It's so interesting to see where these guys are post COVID. Like what have you been able to do? Some guys. Not saying they took losses they shouldn't, but you can tell, like, okay, maybe they're kind of getting some rust off. But overall, it looked like a great event. I know Team Nauman had 4 different teams there. There was a bunch of programs there that had and they had Quest there as well. So there was a lot of teams there that I thought brought some studs. Malvern Prep had a bunch of kids there. Overall, it looked like a great time.
Yeah, and as you said, there are definitely some notable results there. You want to get into those, some of the things that you saw that really kind of made you take a look and check out some of those results?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there was a lot of matches that I thought piqued my interest, but one right off the bat I saw was Connor Eck. He was competing for Nauman Black from Pottstown. He beat Levi Haynes from Biglerville, 2-time state runner-up. He beat him 4-3. That was at 145. So you look at Levi Haynes wrestled 120 last year, or 126, right? And I think that's maybe it's a little bit of a bump for him, but that's a good win for Connor Eck, I thought.
Yeah, absolutely. I was a little surprised to see Haynes up that high. I mean, as we said, we haven't gotten to see many guys just because of everything that's been going on. But interesting to see him all the way up there at 145. And as you said, a really, really quality win there for Connor Eck.
Yeah, and I apologize. I think I said Pottstown. Connor Eck's from Bensalem. For some reason, there's District 1 schools, just like Joe Youngblood. There's 75 of them. How do you keep track of all those schools out in District 1? Talk about just watered down talent, right?
Wow.
I had to throw that out there.
Say that after Connor Eck goes out and gets a big win over this guy.
I had to say it for Joe's sake, because Joe is he's
no disrespect, Connor. This is not about you. This was about Joe Youngblood and getting a dig in at him. Nothing about you, Connor.
Listen, we're in a group chat with some PA Power folks, and Joe Youngblood's always whining about District 1 not getting enough respect. So here it is, man. Connor Eck, Bensalem. Great win over Levi Haynes. Gettysburg had a bunch of wrestlers. Gettysburg, I feel like always they travel as a team everywhere they go. A lot of dual tournaments they're at, they have just a straight up Gettysburg team. Max Gurley from Gettysburg beat Sammy Starr, who was a state qualifier last year. He beat him 10-5. That was up at 182. Surprised to see Sammy Starr up at 182, considering he was battling for a spot at 152 last year. But clearly he's on the same plan as his brother Danny. But good to see him up there. Max Gurley, though, great win for him.
Yeah, definitely a big win there. I agree. I didn't realize Sammy was going to be hitting that growth spurt there, but able to put on some weight during COVID. And I'm sure a lot of the guys, I think we may see that more now because, I think getting in the gym is probably a lot easier than doing a lot of the cardio, a lot of the drilling, those types of things. So we might see some guys that have packed on some muscle during the past couple months.
Yeah, I mean, both those guys were state qualifiers last year. Max was at 82, Sammy bumping up. But I agree. I think you're going to see a lot of guys that are just naturally coming up in weight a little bit just because of COVID and all that, stuff. Another really good match was at 120 pounds, Aiden Lewis from Nauman Purple, Cedar Cliff, state runner-up last year, the Ethan Bergnick. He beat Braxton Apello Freeze from Easton, who was competing for Dark Knights. He beat him in sudden victory 10-8. Braxton is a two-time state medalist, so you had a couple two-time state medalists going head-to-head in a really good match of two of the top lightweights in the state. Aiden Lewis, of course, just recently committed to Bucknell, so obviously he's a Division I recruit. He's doing pretty well, but nice win for him, 10-8 over Braxton Apello.
Yeah, that was in sudden victory, right? So, a really tight one there, and sounds like a pretty good matchup.
Bodie Morgan from Quest. Bodie Morgan's a guy who's coming into 9th grade, and he'll be at Trinity next year in the WPIL, I believe. He beat Dorian Gonzalez from Newport, who was wrestling for Brawlers. He beat him 8-5. He's a senior exiting his high school career, so good win for an incoming freshman over a guy who's accomplished and a two-time state qualifier in his own right. So good job by freshman Bodie Morgan. 182, Colt Barley from Nauman Purple out of Penn Manor. This is probably one of the bigger matches that I saw, was him beating Angel Garcia, right? Angel Garcia, a guy who's known nationally. He's going to Ryder, state medalist two-time. He's a Fargo national champion in Greco, Fargo All-American in freestyle, very well accomplished wrestler. And Colt Barley, not saying he's an underdog, but you look at Angel Garcia, well accomplished, so very good win for him to get that 4-3 over Garcia.
You'll have to forgive me, I don't know too much about Barley. What can you tell me about him? Where's he from? What's his story?
So Colt was this year he's a junior, so he'll be a senior next year. And
okay.
Last year,
where's he from?
Penn Manor in District 3. Okay. Yeah, District 3. He was sixth in the region as a sophomore, and last year he was a state qualifier. So the reason why a lot of people got to know him was because at the regional tournament, he beat Tate Nichter from Chambersburg, who was a state medalist. He beat him 13-0 in the in the wrestlebacks. So it knocked Nichter out of a chance to go into states. And then so he lost to a guy from Gettysburg, Sanito, and then he beat Nichter to end up going to states. He actually took 4th in the region, losing to Ethan Bainey in the 3rd and 4th place match. At states, he went 0-2, losing to Mark McGonigal and Jack McGill. But so clearly, I mean, he's had some good wins. He's had some good wins in his career, but never, not necessarily that marquee win. So I think I thought it was a great performance for him to beat a guy of Garcia's caliber. I think really shows where he was at in his sort of path to next year. I think he's going to be a force. You look at 120 pounds, Dylan Granihan from Nauman Silver. He beat Noah Clausen from Brawlers from Carlisle, 4-2 in sudden victory. And the other one from Carlisle that took a loss was Rafael Pertilla from Carlisle Brawlers. He's actually going to Alvernia next year. He was 3rd in the state last year. Dylan Evans from Chartiers Valley, who was a state medalist last year as a freshman, he beat him 4-1 at 132 pounds. So really good win for Dylan Evans. I think he's a guy who's, last year you had Mac Church, you had Rocco Welsh, you had all these, kind of bigger, not bigger, but, he battled with Rocco back and forth. In fact, they wrestled at the Surge. I remember... Yeah,
loaded Whippeal, though.
Loaded Whippeal, and I remember his dad said, everywhere we go, we wrestle Rocco, so this sucks. Stop making this happen. And not saying he got overshadowed, but he placed 8th in the state as a freshman in a pretty deep weight class. So for him to come up at 132 for Quest, I think he went 7-2 overall at the Bison Legend, but having a good win over Rafael Portilla from Carlisle, who really just came onto his own at the state tournament, taking 3rd. So really good win for him.
Yeah, that's a big one there. As you said, kind of a tough situation that he was in there with running into Rocco and those guys in the Whippeal. But obviously getting a win like this can help him out, kind of springboard him into that preseason as we head into it.
If you look at 195 pounds, Riley O'Mara from Quest, Bethel Park guy, he beat Ethan Rode from Newport, and Rode took 4th in the state last year, and he's a exiting senior. He finished his high school career 121 and 31 in his career, was a state qualifier as a junior, 4th in the state last year at 195 pounds. Riley O'Mara, on the other hand, comes in and beats him 7-6. And I believe Riley's going to Seton Hill, if my memory serves me correctly. Seton Hill's got a couple studs from Bethel Park, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But really good win for Riley O'Mara against a 4th place state, placer at 195 pounds.
All right. And at 120, one of my favorite names, Colin Rath of PA Titans, with a 4-1 win over Braxton Apello of Dark Knights. Some good names in this list. It's a great one. You Colin Rath.
You like the name Wrath. You like Zurich Storm. You like Zurich Storm though too, right? That was one of your.
Yeah, Zurich Storm is a classic name. That one's going to be tough to top, man. Zurich Storm is one of the all-time great names.
Yeah, but his brother was Slade Storm. So I mean, Slade was.
You can't sleep on Slade Storm, but I mean that's not like a wind blowing through the Alps there with Zurich Storm.
That was a Mark Billettism right there. The wind blowing through the Alps, Mike's wearing Pete pants or something. What was
Storm?
Yeah, I get it.
I never understood that one from Mark. Like, what is it? Like Mike wearing Pete's pants.
And it's funny.
I thought for the longest time he was saying Peach pants. I didn't know he was saying Pete, like Pete's pants.
Maybe he is saying Peach. You can't really tell.
I thought it was Peach. I had no idea. I still have no idea what that means.
Colin Rath is, I believe he'll be a freshman next year. He's from Stroudsburg, and it's always tough to figure out where exactly these kids are going to end up if they're, I think he wrestled for Becca. Junior high. In fact, I'm repping Becca right now. I got my Bethlehem Catholic shirt on. Shout out.
Public school people are going to be pissed at you, Jeff.
I've made no. I love Becca. I love Jeff Karam. I have a ton of respect for him. I know they get a lot of hate, but I love it. I'm a huge Becca fan myself. So yeah, and plus they gave me a shirt. So I mean, if you give me
that's what it comes down to.
If you give me a shirt, I mean,
I'm your love.
Yeah, buy my love. But I believe Colin Rath competed for Becca Junior High. I know he's from Stroudsburg area. But having that win over Braxton Apello 4-1, I mean, that could be a potential Northeast Regional or District 11 final, next year with a freshman against a junior. So pretty good win for Rath. Also at 126, you had Spencer Barnhart who competed for Team Delaware Gold. He's from Malvern Prep, and he's from the Philly area originally, but Spencer had a really nice win, a really dominating win over Mason Leipart from Team Eagles, and he's from Dover, Pennsylvania. Leipart's a guy who came into the postseason undefeated, had some pretty solid wins, a 2-time state qualifier, and Barnhart he tore him up 11-0. So that was 126 pounds. So I'm not sure if Leipart's, although Barnhart I think was 106 or 113 last year. So both of them are coming up in weight a little bit.
Yeah, it makes sense. Coming off of that year, you expect them to grow a little bit. But as you said there, very good win for Barnhart.
So a bunch of wrestlers from PA went undefeated, and a couple of them were competing for the championship team, and that was Beast of the East. So Beast of the East was, I mean, it was a power team. It was a power team from guys.
It was a Beast of the East.
Yeah, it really was. I think Joe Youngblood, he loves, I'm going to have to get on Joe again. He loves like the names of like when he was doing the podcast, it was called the open gym, the open room or open mat. And, he loves he wanted to have like the check weight scale podcast, and like so I could see him coming up with like the Beast of the East, but this was an actually really, really beastly team. Nathan Desmond from Becca, he was at 9-0. Caden Williams from Manheim Township, he and his brother Camden both competed really well, but Caden went undefeated at 9-0. He was on that Beast of the East team. Caden Rogers from Malvern Prep. Nick Feldman from Malvern Prep also went 9-0. But he had a tough match. I forget against who it was. It was from Dark Knights. He had a close match. I remember Dom Deputy was texting us about that.
Yeah, I remember that as well. Him saying that Feldman was down early and came back to win that one.
I know it wasn't a kid from PA. I think it was definitely a kid from Jersey, but I can't remember exactly who it was off the top of my head. This is the problem with doing live shows. Like you can't stop and then go get information, then come back and make yourself seem smart. So like if you don't actually have it right there in front of you, we kind of look stupid, right, Eric?
Yeah. Well, hey, that's like you said, that's doing the live show. Jeff, you amaze me all the time with your knowledge of all this stuff. So if you don't know one every now and then, I'm not gonna criticize you too much for it.
Especially if he's a kid from outside of Pennsylvania. I mean, you can't really expect me to know like Willie Saylor. I mean, he knows everything everywhere, all guys across the nation. So speaking of, man, looked like Willie posted a thing on Twitter. I don't know if you saw it. Like he said, this is outside my house, and it's like,
oh yeah, the flooding,
6 feet of water. I mean, I knew that was it a tropical storm now coming up through, but it looked like Easton got pounded. With some flooding. I hope everyone on the Eastern Seaboard, including New Jersey, is okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Nick Feldman goes undefeated. Max Gurley, another guy we talked about from Gettysburg, he went undefeated at 9-0. Josh Harkless from Wilson West Lawn, he went undefeated. He was competing for Nauman Black at 9-0. That's a really good. He's a guy. Keep an eye on him. Josh Harkless is a guy I think is gonna. He's gonna make a big name for himself. Dustin Swanson from Garden Spot. If you remember him from Garden Spot, he was a Fargo runner-up to Colby Franklin a couple years back. He went undefeated at 9-0. And then, of course, your boy, Caden Cassidy of Bedford for Nauman Purple, went undefeated at 9-0. In fact, he just dominated everybody. I don't know if you saw his results or not.
He did what he did all high school season. He just went out and teched people.
Yeah, I mean, he really did. I don't think he had a match that was not at least a major decision. Is that correct, Eric? At the Bison
I'm not
Legend?
sure that. I know that his dad posted, his tech fall stats on Facebook, and they were, amazing. Again, that he just goes out and just piles up points. I mean, his tilt. I'm really interested to see when he gets to college how that transition is, because it's a lot tougher to turn people in college. But man, he's a guy that I think can do it whenever he gets there. That he's still going to be able to turn people on a regular basis.
Yeah, you took the words kind of right out of my mouth. I was just about to say I'm really looking forward to seeing Caden at the next level and seeing how effective he is, because he's in his big time to where he's now just dominating people, and as you mentioned, just really racking up points. So I'm really excited to see how he does at the next level. Also,
and he's on my my Murder Hornets fantasy team.
You picked him for your Murder Hornets, really?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, and I believe I probably about 90% sure that I saw that his dad said that he's going to be gray shirting this year, that he's not going to be at George Mason. I wouldn't swear to that, but I thought that's what I saw in post that said, with everything that's going on, he wasn't going to be probably starting this year anyway, so they were going to kind of take a a year and get him some classes in and get some credits online, I think maybe, or something like that, and go that route for the time being.
You know, not to sidetrack us, but how many kids you think are going to end up doing that? I mean,
I think a ton are.
You know, I mean, it's almost like,
because think about it. You don't want to have how many kids are worried about a situation like last year where they get the wrestle part of the season and then they say, oh no, sorry, we can't have a postseason. So you just lost a year of eligibility. I mean, you tell me Spencer wouldn't like to have last year back and say, okay, I'll take the red shirt.
Yeah. I mean, if I was him, I would, obviously. But you're right. I mean, with the state of wrestling right now and sports in general, I mean, anyone going to a PSAC school, you're like, okay, do I defer enrollment? You know, one of my cousins who's going to UPJ was like, you know, we're essentially an online school now. Like, I can just basically go to Phoenix University, or I can go somewhere else where I can do online school. I paid to go to like an actual campus. So, yeah, I don't know. I could see a good number of wrestlers maybe that deferring, like you said, gray shirt. You know how like the kids up at Cornell, like they'll defer, go to the Finger Lakes and train up there. Or, you know, you may see that a lot this year.
And especially in a sport like wrestling where there aren't a whole lot of full rides to go around. You know, most wrestlers are paying something to go to school. So if you can go to a junior college or wherever and take some credits during this next year and still be able to maintain your training and feel like you can get better, why not do it? You know, save the money, you know, and go that route as opposed to saying, yeah, I'm going all in on the college Division I or Division II or whatever team, and then find out that there's no.
Yeah, I agree. I think, you know, you're going to see a lot of that, and like you said, especially unless you are a top tier, you know, you're paying something. You're paying something to go to school. So, Eric, we're on the clock. This is our 2-minute warning. Okay, power hours.
Okay,
2 minutes and counting. Okay, we got a little sidetracked. Not Joe Youngblood sidetracked, but we can reel it back in, okay? Because a few things I still want to talk about. But let's finish up going through the undefeated wrestlers. Avery Bassett from Midwest competing for Nauman Purple. He went undefeated, 9-0. Of course, you know, he's the guy that beat Eric Gibson at Super 32. They wrestled in the state tournament. Gibson was able to get the best of him that time. AJ Corrado from Burrell, another guy, state runner-up last year, was able to compete for Nauman Purple, went 9-0. Riley Robel from Bishop McDevitt, another Nauman Purple guy. He's a sophomore. Last year as a freshman, he competed really well, made it to the state tournament. You know, he's a guy who is a football guy, but I think we're going to see him kind of, if he really sticks to wrestling, I think, you know, obviously doing a lot of off-season wrestling, I think you're going to see him kind of really jump up in the rankings and in you know, recruiting. I think you're going to see him do really well. Owen Reinsel from Brookville, a state medalist, he went 9-0 for the PA Titans. And Aaron Seidel from Extreme, I believe he's a Northern Lebanon guy. He's younger. He went 9-0. So a bunch of kids competed, and a bunch of kids went undefeated. In fact, if I would have listed all the kids that went 8-1, it would have been on for a while. So a lot of kids. Final team standings were Beast of the East took first, Dark Knights second, Nauman Purple took third, Yale Street, whatever that is, took fourth. No idea what Yale Street is, where they're from, but they took fourth. So before we head off, Eric, did you see Alvernia College is adding women's wrestling in 2022? Did you see that?
That is awesome news. No, I did see. I haven't been on social media too much recently. I saw something, I think to that effect, but it's been kind of a hectic day, and so no, that's awesome news though.
Yeah, I mean that's great for women's wrestling, but Pennsylvania wrestling in particular, because you know, the more programs that we have women's wrestling at higher educations institutions, I mean, just the better, man. I just think it's great. I think they're going to get a pipeline from that law area, Wyoming Seminary. You're going to see some girls going there. So I think it's pretty cool to have a school that close, and it really in the thick of a lot of good area of wrestling. So happy to see that they started that. And I think it's just one of many schools that are going to be, you know, jumping on that and starting women's wrestling, even during COVID times, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. And the way I see it, I mean, there's going to be a trickle-down effect there. The more college programs that there are, the more high schools are going to say, hey, our girls have an opportunity to not only wrestle in high school, but then to go on to college and do it as well. So I think that'll help the movement to get high school wrestling sanctioned in Pennsylvania. The more colleges that we can get with it, I don't know that that's the model you necessarily want to build from top down, but I think it will help to make those opportunities more plentiful for females at the high school level.
I couldn't have said it any better, Eric. And with that, we are now at the conclusion of your Power Hour. So, hope you enjoyed the Power Hour with Eric and Jeff. We got a couple good things coming up your way. We got Dyson interviewed Sammy Sasso, Dom Deputy interviewed Will Betancourt and Nathan Holderbaum. Those are going to be coming out tonight. This is Tuesday night if you're watching this live or on replay. So we got a bunch of stuff coming at you. And again, we still have something up our sleeve that I don't want to get too much out, but you may be seeing some high-level wrestlers going at it on PA Power. I'm just gonna throw that out there, Eric.
Yeah, keeping our fingers crossed there. Keep it a little tight to the vest right now, but definitely some things in the works. I know seeing some of the things that have been going back and forth with you, some of the really big names in PA wrestling. Looks like they're going to hopefully be involved with it, and could be a pretty exciting stuff for us.
Fingers crossed, Eric. And until next week, stay classy, wrestling fans.